The inside scoop with Alex and Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I am Jeff Doss. What is up, insiders? This is episode 277. We are rocking and rolling tonight. We are going to have a special guest on later. It's going to be, Ernest the Cat Miller is going to be fun. All right. This dude is full of energy, full of just excitement, full of stories. So get ready for that. So start getting hype because it's going to be a lot of fun. Start sharing the show, guys. Comment, let us know who all was there. And I'm sharing right now. I'm sure you guys are too.
Better let us know you're here because I know he's going to let us know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So
about this one.
First to get started with the Inside Scoop 2. Nice. Let's talk a little bit about what went on this weekend. So I want to give a shout out to the Memphis Open. He had another fantastic tournament this weekend. I know there was lots of great high-level competitors out there. So I know Dawson Holt was out there. So Sophia Rodriguez was out there. Flores. I know several people from Revolution and Extreme Revolution and Rebellion were out there. I believe, let's see, both of the women, Katuchka and Yorgi from Team Revolution, both won out there. One won the women's grand championship for fighting. The other one won the open weight. I believe Joe Rhodes won the open weight for men's. Not sure who won the men's grand for fighting. And yeah, I mean, if you guys were there, put in the comments who were the big winners and who definitely, stole the show, So I think this tournament continues to have just a great buzz and a lot of hype to it, a great area. Giving guitars for grand championships, and that's always pretty cool, right? So
do you know how to play guitar?
I do not. I
think that's the only, I don't know if it's a downside or not, but it's like, if I won that, well, I don't know how to play guitar. Or is this, I know that this is like a novelty thing. It's a trophy. I get that it's a trophy. I understand that.
And it goes with it being Memphis, because of Elvis. So yeah, it makes sense. It's music, everything.
I do. I understand that. So,
well,
okay. I had to have this dialogue, but go ahead.
All right, here's with me. All right, we're actually having on Ernest the Cat Miller. Ernest, yes, a great sport martial arts legend, but also a pro wrestler. So when I think of guitar, what do you think I think about?
I don't know.
I think about smashing over someone's head like they do in pro wrestling, man.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, but I don't think those were made for that. They're not balsa wood. So
is that the type of wood that they bust is when the balsa wood? Yeah, because balsa wood's like the air wood.
Now they have, they used to do it with some really real ones and then just kind of cut them out. But I mean, this is what I hear. I'm not going to act like I know anything in the business.
So the balsa wood, that's the wood that like the Taekwondo demo teams use when they break boards, right?
I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I've never used.
I don't know. I'm asking.
I've never gotten those thin boards, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But yeah, the honky tonk man, Jeff Jarrett. That's what I always think of. New Jack. So, again, great job to those guys, Joey Perry, Holly, and the whole Pro Mac team. I know lots of people were out there, had a great time. There was also a big USA NKF tournament over the weekend in New York. And several of our sport karate, competitors were there competing, did a great job. Amanda Duarte won 2 first places, the 12-13 and the 14-15. She moved up and competed in the 14-15 and won both of those. So that was huge for her to do that. There's several other, I don't know all the names, if you guys, some of the big winners. What's cool over there is it's similar to like Waco. They let you do your age group and then the age group up. So like for females, they have, or for the males, they'll have the 16-17 division, and then you can do 16 to 34 for forms. So I like that. I like that setup to where you can do 2 of those divisions and step up a little bit just for that. So all right, Logan Goodman won weapons, and then also Kata, awesome, for the higher one. Awesome.
What up, Logan?
Awesome, guys. So yes, there's some great competitors there. I know Brett will probably discuss some of it this week, but I'm sure there was also a big international event as well that were going on. I know there's some people traveling to Dubai right now for a big tournament. So I believe there's also several USA Sport Karate events this weekend, one in Florida and one in New Jersey as well. So lots of great weekend for open martial arts. And
that's what I'm hearing, Alex. I'm hearing there was a lot of stuff going on.
And then this weekend we have a big, the next NASCA tournament, Compete Nationals. So looking forward to it. We will talk about that, I'm sure, next week. So
like the only West Coast event. Here's the only thing I have about the West, because I know there are some people in the past that have said you can't say you're the best unless you beat the West.
Yep.
My only situation with my only gripe with that comment is not everybody from the West shows up to fight in the West.
Well, that happened. Nowadays I believe it's a little different because that's all there is now. But in the past, I get that because there was so many, like, honestly, like NBL was so big there that they didn't go to the NASCA tournaments,
And I totally understood that. And I got like, okay, NASCA it's just not the culture there. Right. So I totally get that I'm like, okay, like a California or just a West Coast fighter in general, like that's a different type of fighter. Right. So if you feel like you know how to defend this and because you've seen all this, you might not have seen all the stuff that you can see from the West Coast. Listen,
dude, it's a completely different style.
It's a totally different animal.
Yeah.
All right. And because there's plenty of like fighters and people that like they're totally different from anything you've ever seen. I didn't know that a creature like Justice Lawrence existed on Earth. Right. Like, what is that? Or how about a Kyle Richards? Like,
Kyle Richards, any of the Arceo, Sean, Alex, all those guys. I mean, their style is just crazy, right?
But that's the culture. The culture is like, hey, we can be stupid athletic, but extremely creative at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And find a way to make that efficient, which is like, that's the one thing. It's like, how do you do that? So I get that at the time that it's like, things like the Compete Nationals. Sorry. I'm learning, Jeff.
That's the first time you've done that in like 3 years, though. So that's pretty cool.
I'm okay. I'm trying to better myself here. That why would I go to that one? If I got Golden Gate, and I've got all these other events, like, that's not really my style. Now there isn't those things. So, all right, West Coast. Let's see you guys this weekend.
So, the USA Sport Karate tournament that was in New Jersey was called the Garden State Open. Heard you guys had a great event, and congrats that you guys are doing something big up there, making a change up there, up that way. So pretty cool. Kyle Reed had a great event. Now you had another one. So looking forward to it, man. I know the Ben's family are very involved as well with you guys. So awesome. All right. So let's talk. Last week was Valentine's Day, so we didn't really talk about this like we probably should have, but let's get into couples and sport martial arts. All right. It's just going to be a fun topic. All right. When you think of a couple a power couple or just, couples that stand out to you in sport martial arts, what are some of the first ones you think? I
The
mean,
first, this is what's funny. This is the way my head works, right? Which you already know. Like, all right, Alex, you're about to say something bad, right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of great couples
yes.
that are just like, you got to be kidding me. You guys are so adorable, within martial arts and sport martial arts. But when you first like brought that up, like couples in sport martial arts, the first thing I thought was toxic relationship. So first thing I thought, like couples in sport martial arts, someone's gonna have a violent breakup, right? That's the first thing that went through my head because it's like, listen, this is just too much like volatility that people have to
Right.
just be like that. But no, there are some great ones. But I guess the first couple that pops in my mind is Trevor and Casey Nash. Yeah, John
That's the
Politi
first
just
one
said
for
it,
you?
but Nash. That was the
Okay.
first one that popped in my head. Yeah, Trevor and Casey Nash.
So for me, the first one is actually the Prices. I mean, Anthony
There you
and
go.
Maureen,
Yeah.
just the way they are, as far as just the couple they are, But as far as with the
Everyone loves them.
power, as far as like the two that like are at the highest level, yeah, I
Mhm.
think of Trevor and Casey. Currently, right now, Haley and Alex. Those would have to be like the new ones. Don and Christine is a
Don and
great one.
Christine, yeah.
Jared Liker and Becca, another great one, especially during their time when they were both competing. Shay said a good one too. Justin and Jules right now, as far as the way that they are in outside and inside the sport, because they've been showing up a lot at tournaments, helping our sport karate competitors figure out what they could do to get into that stunt world or the acting world or the film industry. So they're doing a great job at really guiding people, to that. So it's pretty cool to see.
Right.
All right, who
So,
are you? Some other ones.
well, that's the problem. So many other ones are
That's a good one, Jay.
are just failed relationships.
Let's.
And
Are
I'm
we gonna
not gonna.
bring those?
Oh, I will. No, I'm not.
Okay.
Gonna,
Yeah,
I'm
let's
not.
not do that.
I'm not gonna do something like that. But I just looked at that, and I can remember when I was even a teenager going, "Why would you do that to yourself? Why do that?" Now Jackson and Gabrielle done.
Yep.
Yeah. All
Yep.
right. Yeah. That's an example. Like you two are obnoxiously adorable, So, but like I remember looking at that like when I was a teenager, like why would you guys do that to yourselves? Like you've seen 100 of these situations end horribly. What would make you think that this thing's gonna work out? But then you get a Jackson and Gabrielle when they were teenagers, they were dating each other, and now look at these two adorables, right? So you go, I don't know. Am I the grump? Am I the Grinch? Right? Who says love stinks? I hope not, but it kind of sounds like it.
Shay, you guys are doing great. All right. You're not doomed. Okay.
Who?
Jason and Kim.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's a great
The
one.
Borellis, for sure.
What else, Alex? Or anybody else you're thinking of right now?
I'm drawing blanks here. But well, I'm not drawing blanks. Because I don't want to mention once that
Ones
did
that
not
you
work
thought
out
of.
or that
Yeah.
everybody looked at and went, ooh,
Yeah.
right? There's tons of those, right?
Cam
And
Stephanie's a
I
good
don't
one.
want to mention those.
Cam and Stephanie's a good one. Yeah. I mean, lots of just power couples, but like couples that are just strong and supportive to each other. It's really cool to see. For me in the South, I always thought Rick and Nikki Lee, they
There
were
you
always
go.
strong, yeah, David and Claire, that's one we can't forget about either, man.
Yep.
That's a great one. And then now Sam and Kyla. So yeah, man.
What I'm always interested,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always interested to hear like how did this thing start? Because it's not like, hi, let me introduce myself. Like, we'll have seen you for the last 2 years. You know,
Right. Right.
like you're in the you're in the ring next to me for the last 7 months, right? We've been there. I've seen you for the last 2 years, right?
Right.
Like how does that? I don't know. How does
Yeah.
that something like that happen? Did you ever, don't name any names, but did you ever like date anybody who was in like a tournament scene?
Yes. Yes.
How does that thing,
Yeah.
I don't want to know. Don't.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on now. I don't know why I brought this up. All right. So
Well, you probably just, here's the thing. It was a good topic. You probably brought it up to the wrong person.
yeah. All right. So before Ernest gets on, we're gonna start doing something every week now. All right. It's gonna be a new segment on the show, and it's gonna be our top 5 of a certain who were the best at a certain technique, a certain move, a certain, something in martial arts. Not really like the best combos or no, not like that. More defined, more detailed than that. So today we are doing the top 5 side kickers of all time. Okay. And we're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to have 5 in forms, 5 in fighting.
And this is the big one. I mean, with all the techniques that there are, and there's a lot, this is the one that everyone's going to feel that there's so many great ones, right? Like everybody's got a great sidekick. I mean, unless you're not worth nothing, right? Everybody's got a good sidekick. So who's the best of this one move? So this is going to be I've got some on here that maybe some people were not expecting. And then there's some that I probably thought you might put that on there.
Right. All right, so I have 6, but
what do you mean you have 6?
Well, that's because that's with or without.
Oh, because of the other thing that we talked about?
Right. So it just depends on what you guys think on that one. But all right. So are we going forms first? Do we want to do it the way that I talked about how you all right?
Let's do that. Let's do the blind.
And then you're gonna just rank it based on blind. So I'm just gonna go and all right, so we're going to do forms first. All right, guys. So
forms first. The blindly ranking. This is where I'm blindly ranking without knowing what comes next.
Is this with
forms? Yes.
With that person in there?
Yep.
All right. So, all right. This is a hard one to throw out first because All right. Let's see, where am I putting? All right, Steve Horse. Yeah, I know, right? So Steve Horst, top 5. All right, that's one of them.
Steve Horst, 4.
All right, wow.
Because technically, this one's a top 6.
Do you want me to do all 6 in there?
Yes, technically, this one's a top 6. So I'm going to put Steve Horst 4. Man, that is good. Of course, you were going to know him. Okay.
All right. Go ahead. I'm going to go with one of the current ones, Caitlin Vaughn.
6.
All right. Here's one that you probably did not expect, but I've mentioned him many times. Vince Diacampo from DKT Force 1.
5.
All right. John Chung.
I got 4, 5, and 6 already there. John Chung. 3.
Wow. Jeff Doss.
2.
All right. Michael Dietrich then will be number 1.
No! How did you leave? Oh my goodness. Do you really? Okay. Well, Michael Dietrich's good, but Michael Dietrich's he's not number 1 good.
All right.
Your list was close to mine.
All right. So you had, randomly, you had Dietrich, me. Who'd you have in 3? John Chung?
John Chung.
And then Stephen Horst. And then Vince and Caitlin. All right. I'm telling you, man, Vince Diacampo had one of the strongest and most awesomest sidekicks I've ever seen. And people just didn't expect it. The way he used to throw it. And me and Butch Marks used to talk about that all the time, how he had one of the best sidekicks. So All right. We're doing the same thing.
Yeah,
you
I
want-
want to. Well, yeah. Now I want to see how I'm going to give you blindly
wanna do-
rank mine. Blindly rank mine. Okay.
Forms or fighting?
Well, I haven't given you my. You don't know what my forms are yet.
Okay, let's go. Forms.
All
then.
right. This is a 6. Okay.
All right.
Mike Belcher.
Mm.
We talked about this guy.
Yeah, he had a really good sidekick. I'm gonna go 5.
Okay. John Chung.
1,
Jeff Doss.
2,
Elsa Cordero.
Oh, dude, she was on my list too. That's so great. I was ready. Oh man. What I have? I'll go 4.
You got yourself in the corner, man.
Yeah, that's fine.
Steve Horst.
3.
And then there's one that I haven't said yet.
All right, go.
Kingstoning.
6.
No,
That is-
he's not.
No, like to me, yeah. I remember I put him number 1 in my favorite kickers, but Kingston had a
Believe
great
what's
side
happening.
kick. But to me, it was his variety that actually made him a better kicker, which in a lot of ways is what I think makes me a great kicker too, is my variety in the kicks. So I think that would be there. So, but again, that's
But
random.
hold on though.
I
The
wouldn't
difference
have
with
known.
Kingston.
Maybe I would have put him at 3 or 4, right?
So what you're saying,
What?
if you would look at this, if you could now knowingly, you would rank John Chung number 1, you number 2, and Kingston number 3 or 4?
3 or 4. I still think, honestly, like Stephen Horse, his hip mobility with his sidekick and his flexibility
Like this
really,
wide.
really insane. And
Kingston.
honestly, if anyone that pushed me to be the best at what I've done, like it was him. We're the same. So I can't fault that guy. Like I think
I've never
for
seen
me,
anything like Stephen Horse before.
yeah,
or since.
I think for me, it's just there's not too many people that have kicked as long as I have consistently. So yeah, so that's
Is there-
why.
well, let's just call it. Is there anybody?
Right.
No.
Right. So that's what I put on there. All right. So do we want to do let's do our top 5 fighting ones later on once we have our
It's gonna be a good one. I got a couple on here. I know you're not expecting.
All right. So next up, guys, we have our special guest, the man, Ernest the Cat Miller. What's up?
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Always.
Mic check 1,
always.
2.
Yeah. I'm getting on this mic, baby. Let me see. 1 second here. Let me get this
Yes,
right.
sir. Oh man. So guys, if you do not know the man, the myth, the legend, Ernest the Cat Miller, you need to go do your homework, man. This guy, and again, this is someone that I think everybody needs to go up and introduce themselves to and try to have a conversation to at a tournament, because you will
It'll
learn,
be a good one.
entertain, and you will have fun, and you will be inspired as well. So
How you been, my friend?
Man, I've been great. I'm trying to get this thing set right. Can you hear me?
Why
yes,
we
sir.
hear everything you're saying. We got
Yeah,
you.
we hear you great.
I can just barely hear you. I hear you guys on here, but I want to hear you through here. So
Oh, I got
give
you.
me 1 second here. And
Shay
I
says
might.
While you're checking on that,
Yep. Yeah, while you're checking on that, so again, Alex, with the sidekick list, I mean, it's a tough one, right? Because everyone has done a sidekick, right? Well, at least when I was coming up. It's a little different now, but yeah.
well, yeah, I suppose.
As far as
In
with
forms, yeah.
forms, yeah.
Isn't that how nutty is that to really think?
Yeah.
That
And
it,
then
it
there's
exists
people
in the
that-
world where you could be a high level forms competitor, no sidekick.
Yeah.
It just and when you say it out loud, feels like someone should have to like pay a fine, you know. Like
Pay a
every
fine.
time you do your form with no real sidekick, like there should be a $50 penalty for that.
And the truth is there's some different types of form sidekick too. Like even if we said Japanese form sidekicks, that's a whole different way of doing it, than what, like a Korean sidekick. So
Okay, guys, I'm here. I'm here, baby.
all
Let's rock and
right,
roll.
there we go. All right, my friend. So first off, how have you been?
Man, I've been great, man. Great. Doing a little traveling for the last couple of weeks, man. I did a WWE appearance on Raw.
Yes,
So
sir.
I had that here in Atlanta. And then I did the Jericho cruise,
Okay.
for 4 or 5 days. So, I've been traveling, just got back home from that and finishing up some stuff on the movie with Michael J. White called Trouble Man. So, and then I got a little sparring in last night. Over at Marcel with Team ATL.
Nice.
I sparred them, or they had team practice. So I got in town just enough to go there and play around with those guys. And then I went to Atlanta Top Team and did some real kickboxing stuff tonight. So
Wow.
You're a Renaissance
I
man.
got a busted lip right now. They don't give a damn who I am once I get over there.
Dude, do you ever stop, man?
Man,
I mean,
what? I'm not gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? You just like you. How many times people have told you, "Are you ever gonna stop? Why
Yeah,
are you doing this still?"
that comes up a bunch.
Yeah, that makes you want to keep going, right? You're doing
That's
something
right.
right.
Yes, sir. All right, so for me as a wrestling fan, I want to know about this Jericho cruise. All right, I've heard a lot about it.
Let me tell you. I was a little afraid when he first invited me on here. Jericho called me and said, "Hey, Cat, I got something. This might be fun for you." I said, "What did he says my cruise?" I said, "So what do we do on this cruise?" He said, "We bring you on and you'll do like a couple of days of meet and greet. But for me, I had to do his podcast. So he said, you have one day, you'll do my podcast, but it's really just meeting fans." So I said, "How many fans do you have on there?" He said, "About 1,500. And I said, "And it's for 4 days." But man, let me tell you something. I anticipated this being real, kind of like it's hard to be around fans, especially when you go to the meet and greet. They want to hug you, they want to talk to you like
Oh
they know
yeah.
you. And there's nothing wrong with that because we created something, but you
Right.
don't know what you created with who until
Right.
they
Yeah.
come up to you and they start talking to you about, "Hey, I remember Monday Night Nitro, Cat. My dad and I was sitting down watching you on TV and we just felt so good watching the TV show. We love watching you. He's gone, but just memories, just now I get to meet you." So you never know what kind of activity or creation you're doing when you're creating some kind of relationship partner, like 'cause they feel like we're friends, they
Right.
know me. So those things are pretty hard. Now, when I went on the cruise, I was like 1,500, 4 days. How I'm gonna get away to be by myself?
Right.
It was so funny, man. When we went on there the first 2 days I was there, nobody said anything to me. They kind of glance at me and just keep walking. I started to think like, wait a minute, don't nobody know me on this damn thing. But then when we had our first meet and greet, me, Al Snow, Bobby Lashley, the Hurt Foundation, the Hurt team,
Yeah.
all these guys was on there. We sat down and they think, I went in and I was like, damn, who are all these people here for? They at their table waiting on you. So what I thought was what I gathered was that they probably told us, said, "Listen, you're gonna see these wrestlers and their family walking around on the ship. Don't
Yeah.
bother them, don't mess with them. You're gonna get your time to spend with
Oh.
them." So it was
Mhm.
pretty good, man. I had a great time. Great time.
So you got to really experience the cruise while experiencing the cruise, and then you got to do that too. That's pretty cool because I could totally feel like when you had described what it was going to be,
Yeah.
I started to get overwhelmed just hearing what it was going to be. But that's pretty cool then.
But you know what the fun part was? I told my wife, I'm walking around. I got we had this little cabin to where you can open the door. You're right outside on the water. in the beautiful seas. We we left Miami Port on our way to DR.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so beautiful, man, and so peaceful, you know. And one time I looked at my wife and said, "Man, can you believe I'm getting paid this kind of money just to go on this trip? They paid me to come on this thing, you know."
Right, that's right.
So I mean, it was fun, man. Jericho put on a great. It was rock. The only thing I didn't understand was that music. You know, he's into that rock and roll kind of heavy metal kind of stuff.
Yes,
And
sir.
that music was blasting all around the clock. So, you know, I'm used to Motown, baby, some little R&B, you know.
This is awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, I'm glad you're back. All right, let's talk a little bit about the beginning of Ernest Miller. Where did you start in martial arts? I think a lot of people don't necessarily know like your story as far as where you began and everything like that. So,
Man, you know what's up? I began when it go back some years. I'm up there in age now. I'm 62. But I started practicing karate when I was like 11 or 12.
okay,
And it was all just I was kind of quiet, but I was big. And I could handle myself because of my size when I was young. But I had a little brother with a big mouth. And people always wanted to fight him. So I said, you know, in order to protect him, I need to learn to do something. So I went to see a movie at the theater called Chinese Connection. When they were fighting in karate and stuff, I saw the kicks and the punches. And I said, that's what I wanted to do. So I got into the martial arts early, just as a self-defense phase, so I know how to throw a punch, you know?
yes, sir. Awesome. Who's your first instructor?
My first instructor were a guy named Ronald Walker, very well known around the Atlanta area. He he brought out a bunch of kids, man. Marcel Leatherby, I think you guys may know him.
Yeah.
He got his black belt with the same instructor. I was the youngest one in there until Marcel came. Then Marcel was like the youngest student in there. So we all came up under the same instructor.
Instructor. Okay.
Yeah, so his name, they just call him Teacher. Everybody called him Teacher. Teacher. How you doing, Teacher? His name was Ronald Walker. He passed, I think he passed, yeah, he did. He passed away about maybe 10 years ago, you know, car accident. But he was the one to get me started into the martial arts.
Okay. And so what came next? Were you just started in tournament karate from there? Or what was that next thing for you?
Man, you know, he always preached that the biggest thing for him and for us was the Battle of Atlanta. Everybody talked about the Battle of Atlanta. This is the biggest tournament in the world. It was like in 1975. This is the biggest tournament in the world. If you win this tournament, everybody will know about you. That's all he used to tell our kids. So every year, when the Battle of Atlanta was over, we started preparing for the next year. We started raising money because we didn't have to pay for anything. We have raised money and put it together, and we were able to travel in the tournament circuit. So, you know, the Battle of Atlanta was the big event for us back in those days.
Oh yeah, and like, I think it was for most people, especially in the Southeast. You know, like for me, even in Virginia, that was like the big tournament. Like I went there years before I even went to DC. Like that was, I think my first year I went, I was like 6, you know, and I went every year. It was the tournament.
Huge. And listen, the tournament was huge, man. And listen, when I was there, I saw people like Chuck Norris, people that I would see in movies. I see these guys just walking around.
Correct.
You know, I knew a Bill Superfoot Wallace, but he was like this legend to me, like this, you know, like something I wanted to aspire to be like. You know, somebody was in the movie, and then he was good in karate. Physically, he was put together. And man, when I met that guy, then met Jim Kelly, I started seeing these stars walk around. I didn't see guys like this in my neighborhood. But just to be able to say this is a part of guys I see on TV, they be at this big tournament, man, it was a huge thing to be a part of the Battle of Atlanta.
That's a big deal if you think, because that does not exist. Okay.
It
The
is, you're
culture
right.
of that does not exist today. Because I've never been around. Because for me, what that would mean in my time frame of in martial arts tournaments, that would be like if I saw Jean-Claude Van Damme at a tournament.
Yeah.
Right.
No chance that was happening. Right.
But wait a minute, kid. Let me tell you something. You got to see Ernest Miller. And what do you think Van Damme do when he see Ernest the Cat Miller? He's a fan. He's a fan.
Yes.
So sometimes what we do now is we don't take in perspective of who we have in front of us.
And that's another thing. That's a good point. That's a very good point, because I was at a tournament when I was a kid, when you were there, and guys like Michael Jai White were there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, right?
Bro,
but the fact that I could be at a tournament like that, and then they are still there, then you look back at that later and go, wow.
Exactly.
Was really cool. Like I'm in that environment with them. That's really cool.
But the funny thing is this right here. I go to these karate schools, and I'm just one of the guys. They call me Uncle E. I'm sitting there talking crap to them. And, and I just got off a private jet. You know what I'm saying? With Hulk Hogan and people that people fantasize about being around. Goldberg. I'm getting calls from director, TV guys. I'm getting called. But you know what? When I'm in the karate school, people treat me just like I'm a karate person. And that's what I love. That's what I love doing. I love for people to treat me like that. But at the same time, I don't want them to forget that this guy's really a celebrity. This guy can, I don't know if you remember Kodak. Of course, y'all do remember Kodak.
Oh, yeah, of course, you know Kodak.
Kodak, and I was at a tournament. We were just sitting down talking and playing. Then Kodak looked at me and he said, Uncle E, you know what, man? I really appreciate you. I said, for what? He said, you can be on some other stuff. I said, what you mean be on some other stuff? He said, you can be acting totally uppity and different, but you come here, you act just like you one of us. I do. I still see myself as one of them. But, bro, when I went to the WWE, and I forgot because I haven't been to a WWE event really in about 20 years. So they called me. They was in town. I went there, man. And when I got out the car, I was like in the back where the fans part. They said, no, come to the back where the wrestler part. So I came around there. Security looked at the car. They were stopping. He looked in the car. He said, oh, that's Ernest the Cat Miller. Boom. I said, I just got to know me. They must know I'm coming. So I get to the front, man. They walked me through Triple H, Steven Regal, all these guys seeing me. Hey, Cat, how you doing? It's good to see you. They take a second to greet and say hello. But the best part of this right here, all these young stars that are out there now, when I walk past them, no lie, swear, when I walk past them, they kind of, under their voice, I can hear a few of them say, hey, is that Ernest the Cat Miller?
Right.
People say, yeah, that's him. It was like, man, they blow, kind of blow their mind because they grew up watching me do my thing in the ring. And then I get put on this, now everybody started, you're a legend. But then the next day I'm back in the karate school doing what I love the most.
Right.
And people look at me just one of the guys. And that's what I like, man. I like to do that. I know who I am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love that about you.
Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be on this podcast at 9:30 at night. It's my bedtime. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we appreciate it, man.
So for y'all ask me to come on, I said, man, come on. I get up, come down to my office, turn the light on, stuff like, I was like, man, but you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to be here because both of you guys know, I kind of watch both of you guys in the tournament circuit. Man, listen, Jeff, you one of my favorite forms. I'll tell you that. I didn't even talk to you till I started watching you on the internet. You were teaching. You weren't just doing. You weren't just telling people how to do it. You were teaching them why you should do it.
Yes, sir.
And I've seen you fight before, bro. I've seen you fight before, man. You like one of those white boys just come down in our hood and they say, y'all better. No, he'll fight. He will fight, boy. And you know that. I've been in your corner. I'll tell you, I kind of slid over to you and said, boy, you a fighting joker. You a fighter, man. Which I'm a fan of you guys, you know.
Thank you,
Can
sir.
I tell you something about that? Because you said that before, and it always like warms my heart.
I know, right?
Big time. The first time that you said something like that to me, Ernest, which is probably a little bit more than a decade ago, sucked big time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, man, he said he liked watching me. And now my focus was gone. Right. Because I was telling people, like, did you want to hear what Ernest just said? Right. Did you hear what the cat? And I couldn't focus on anything else anymore. So that tournament was gone. Right. But it did teach me to focus a little bit more, even though there was something like that. And this was like, I couldn't even believe that you would be a fan of me, but why not? You know, not me,
exactly.
but you're a fan of martial arts, and I just happen to be a guy throwing techniques. So I greatly appreciate it.
I mean, if you wanna explain it like that, go ahead. I told you I'm a fan of yours. You know, you don't have anything with martial art. I see certain people in the business. I'm not going to look at it as a business. I see certain people in the tournaments in the karate world that I really appreciate. You know, some of my favorite guys are guys that you probably the TV and people probably never hear about, like Marcel Lazenby, Team ATL, Paul Mitchell. A lot of people don't know Paul Mitchell. I was one of the first members of Paul Mitchell.
Right.
You know, Pedro, and a couple of guys. We didn't lose for about 3 years. And matter of fact, I had just signed a $5 million, I'm going to tell you, a $5 million deal with WCW. And guess what I told them before I got started? I got to go to the tournament down in Miami. It was a tournament that I had to go to with Paul Mitchell because we were going to fight there. And I just signed a big deal in wrestling. And the thing is, once I got down there, I was fighting some guy, and I was fighting like I usually fight. And the one thing happened that kind of told me I need to slow it down. The guy did something. He reached, and his finger went in my eye. And that's what it blurred my vision for a long time. And I started to think, boy, if I get hurt here and now, that's money down the drain, because they're not going to pay me for what happened in a karate tournament.
Right.
But I still took the chance to continue to fight there. And once I got into my contract, they understood, say, okay, around the Battle of Atlanta, Cat is not going to be here. He's going to be in Atlanta at the Battle of Atlanta. So they set that day apart for me in my contract to compete in Battle of Atlanta every year. Every year.
Wow. That's crazy. I did not know that.
And you got to think that that's something that any kind of professional combat, or not even combat, but just professional sport would say, no, we can't risk that. There's no way we're going to do that. But they allowed that.
Well, Eric Bischoff, the person that hired me, and Eric Bischoff was the president, a vice president or something. He was up there. He was high up there. He knew my love for karate. He knew that I was teaching karate, and this is my life. So he was not going to hold me from doing it, prevent me from doing it. But at the same time, I had just signed a big contract, and it was a tournament, and I hadn't had not one day on TV yet doing that contract. So if I got hurt now, where I sit, it was like an NFL contract. This is what most people don't understand. And I tell everybody this. Pro wrestling is just like the NFL, NBA. You sign big contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And back then in 97, Jeff, you know this, that was doing 83 weeks.
Yep.
When we were going against head-to-head with WWF.
Yep.
And guess what? Monday Night Football was thinking about getting out the way because the numbers were huge.
Yeah.
You know, and man, money was being thrown around everywhere, you know, and I mean, it was a heated time in pro wrestling, and I was just getting into, I think this tournament had to be about 96 or 97. I think it had to be around that time.
Because you debuted in '97, right?
How?
You debuted in '97, I believe.
Yeah, I
at the beginning of the
debuted,
show?
but I was there. I got there in '96, and I started to work
train.
out, and I knew nothing about the business. That's
Right.
why now I talk to a couple of my friends at WWE, and see, people don't understand. I got a couple of guys now calling me and talking about getting into the business of WWE. You know, getting into the business. How do you get into the business, Cat, Uncle E? How do you get? And these are karate guys. And
Right.
I tell them, listen, bro, you can do karate all you want to, but these guys are getting paid. The average guy now probably get paid about $350,000. That's average. In
Yeah.
in
I actually saw Ernest that actually what's funny is right before the show, it said the lowest, I think the base contract is 200,000 or something like that right now. for
I heard
WWE.
I heard 350. That may be from net.
NXT when they come in. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be from net, but the Lord and the higher paid guys getting paid like millions and millions of dollars.
Yep.
You know, and then I'm associated with AEW, got a lot of friends over there, but you know, WWE really kind of opened the door for me and told me anybody I want to bring in, just let them know. Because now they're doing the NIL deals, you know, and they want to bring people from other background other than wrestling, other than, you know, because like when I got into the business, I grew up wanting to be a martial artist. That's all. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to do karate my whole life and make money, but there was no way to make the living that I wanted to make. You know, I played a little pro football, tried out with a few teams, you know, and that didn't work. And I said I need to get back into karate, and I started teaching with Joe Corley and teaching with them, but they still weren't bringing the money. So when wrestling came to me, it knocked on my door and said, okay, this is an opportunity for you to make the money you want, become a little famous, a little bit more. And then what you do, you go back to karate and bring that to karate. But I get so many people now that I want to tell them, wrestling it's a big business, man. It's a big business, and it's a quick fix. It's a quick thing.
I think Uncle, you're right, man. I think a lot of people want the first thing they think about is stunts, and that's a big thing, right? But there's so many that could be in wrestling right now, and it would be amazing if they took that ability to that, right? I mean, there were so many before that I wish there were some that wanted to years ago, but it was at that time in like 97, 98. They weren't looked upon as that. Like someone like Anthony Atkins, I remember wanted to be a pro wrestler big time, but he was lighter, right? He could do all the things, but that still wasn't that like, it's a whole different world now, right? They're not looking just at the big guys now like they used to.
No. You know what? Then it was good too. I just talked to one of the guys on. He probably won't mind if I call his name. What's his name? Justin Ortiz.
Yes, Justin Ortiz.
Justin Ortiz, yeah.
He called me and he'd been doing a couple of classes and wrestling with people, and I asked him, I said, who you been working with? He called some guy name. I'm like, man, who in the hell is that? I was like, bro, why would you go to him and you got Uncle E, somebody who know you? Why would you come to me and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do? Because maybe I can't get him in, but I can get him at the right door. You know, where some people come in and they get in, they barely get in. And when you barely get in, man, that's hard to work your way up. It takes a lot of years to work your way to the top, to where you're making money, to where you got a name. But the business right now is paying a lot of money. It want new people. You don't have to be big, but what I was telling Justin Ortiz, he said, I'm a stunt guy. I said, bro, stunt guys, you do a movie in the stunt, you do a stunt in the movie. When the movie's over, you go home till you get the next movie. These are stunt that you got to tell stories with when you're a pro wrestler.
Right.
And it's a stunt where they see your face.
Yeah.
And in the movie stunts world, nobody knows who the heck you are.
Bro, if you look at it, you know what Mark Henry just said on Busted Open. Ernest the Cat Miller was ahead of his time. And the reason they said that, I could really fight.
Right.
I could really do what I do. And they said, what did you do? If you look at some of the stuff I was doing, running from the middle of the ring, jumping to the top of the rope, turning around, kicking people and not killing them.
Right.
Kicking people with doing stuff that stunt guy had to use cables to do. Now think about this. I was doing a lot of that stuff in the ring live every night.
And let's be honest, what, at 230
pounds, 230 pounds. And when people would see me, like somebody see me on TV, then when they see me live in person, they always said the same thing. Damn, Cat, I didn't know you were that big, man. You look small on TV. Bro, Kevin Nash is 7 feet tall.
Right.
Goldberg is like a refrigerator with muscles. These guys are
Straps
huge,
that
man.
start up
Big
at his
Dan
ears.
Vader looked like a big old turkey pot, whatever that is. I mean, he was just big, man.
Yeah, he was huge.
Just big. And these guys are some of the strongest guys you ever want to meet. And one of the best guys in the business. Every time they see me, him and his brother, they start talking about, come and let's see if that karate is real. It's the Steiner brother. But the Steiner brother respect me so much that they said, we respect the way you came in. You were humble. You didn't come in. Think about it. I went from teaching karate to being Monday night, and I'm looking around working with Ric Flair, Hogan, Macho Man. I'm working with all these guys I kind of want, you know, and they trying to get to know me and they trying to get to know me. But that's where my karate background came in, because they told me I was able to refocus after I went and brought my first Rolex watch, my first Bentley. After I got Hollywood for about 2 weeks, then I said, okay, it's time for me to get down to business. I dove into being business, man. And at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. It's almost like getting into a karate class, and you got to start out slow. Now, this is what I do. And I even do it now. Like before the tournament, I'll take a little time off. I could be at the top of my game, whipping everybody butt in the class, sparring. Then I take a little time off. And then I could be able to play football or whatever I was doing outside. Now I come back and try to get ready for the tournament. And everybody you were beating, now they're whipping your butt. Cause your timing off. But eventually, you know what happened. You know what happened once your timing started coming back, you put everybody in place. That's what I had to kind of tune into once I got into wrestling. I was like, I'm not the best. I'm not the best, but I got to still believe in myself. All I need to do is just do the work, put the work in, put the work in, put the work in. 5 years into it, bro, 5 years into it, I was over. Whenever my name came up, when they started talking about, hey, we need to hit this. Now, in the war, they said, in Monday Night War, they said we need to hit like a 6'2". So we need to throw people in there, they bring in the ratings. NWO, hit them out there. We need to pop the crowd. And boom, boy, it made me feel so good when they said, hey, Cat, go to the ring. And I knew why they were telling me go to the ring, because people watched to see me when I came to the ring. So I was one of those kind of crowd poppers, one of those rating poppers. So boom, go to the ring, man. And I just did my work, you know, and now 20 years later, bro, you don't realize when you walk through until these new guys you look up to and you watch the show now, and they whispering, is that Ernest the Cat Miller? And they all said the same thing. Hey, man, you need to come back and be with me. You need to come back and be I got a guy to be right now.
I agree. I would love to see you a manager. Oh, man.
Bro, I couldn't deal with the young guys, man. I couldn't deal with them. They don't want to listen to us. They don't want to listen to old school even. We've been there. You
like,
know,
what do you mean? Say what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Okay. The wrestlers today, from what I understand and what I hear from some of my friends that work there, it's hard to tell them what to do now because of they're in the spotlight right now. It's all about them.
Right.
Nobody gonna give nobody too much credit and say, hey, I'm here because you put me here or you got me here. These young guys just don't want to listen. Even some of the karate school, man. I go to some of the karate school and I work with these young guys, and the first thing they want to do is take off on me real fast. hit you all kinds of ways. Now, here I am. I got to try to protect myself because this guy may do something that, he's not going to try to do. I mean, you run past these guys and they hook kick you back. They fast, man. That's young talent. But if I was them, I would sit down and think that, you know what, this guy's a legend. He'd have won some matches. He'd have beat a lot of good guys. But at the same time, look at his career. Let me talk to him about what was he thinking when he moved from karate to wrestling?
Wrestling. Yeah.
What was he thinking when he moved from karate to doing movies? Right. What was he thinking when he moved from karate to do business deal and real estate? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't want to hear that, but all that was part of me when I was fighting because I knew, hey, if this guy beat me, I'm going to beat him tomorrow. Next time I say I'm going to beat him. I can always reinvent myself.
Yes, sir. Hey, so while you're on that, just name some people that you think from the sport karate world that you think should go into pro wrestling or would do well in pro wrestling.
I can't say that, man, because I haven't looked that deep into it, but it's a lot of people in there. You yourself could be incredible in it. And this is why, if you could tell a story with what you get, people want to hear a story. When you get out there and doing your forms, you don't just go out there, do a form and stick your sidekick. And that's bull crap when you guys ask me to get on here and talk about who got the best sidekick. Jeff, you already know you got the best sidekick in the world. You just want me to come on here and you gonna send me your little note. Hey, we gonna talk about who got the best sidekick. Study up. I don't need to study. I know what you want me to say, Jeff.
No. Actually, I'm gonna stand up for Jeff in this. He wanted to leave himself out of the list.
Okay, well, he's on the list.
And I'm like, wait a minute. It's not a list. It's not a list if you leave yourself out of the list.
Yeah.
There would have to be an asterisk. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But
I made him put himself in the list.
Well, he's on my list for being one of the best sidekicks, but you got people like Jerry Prince. I don't know if y'all remember him. Jerry Prince.
Yes, sir.
A lot of guys, man, had good sidekick that. And these young guys today, man, let me tell you something. Their sidekicks are fast. Back in the day, you could not get a point if you didn't straighten your sidekick out to stop somebody. If you stumble back on the sidekick, it wasn't a sidekick. They didn't give you that point. The way they throw the sidekick now, they can snap it in there. And let me tell you, these young guys now with these fast sidekicks, speed, equal power, man, these guys sidekicks are incredible. It make me don't want to run up on them. But you have people, one thing I want to tell you, but then you had sidekick stoppers. And those are those guys who knew what to do with a sidekick. And I'm gonna tell you, I had a pretty good sidekick. It's powerful. And my sidekick was just a push to push him away from me so I can run him over. Because I was a big guy. Push that sidekick, push it, then run him over. But I tried this on Jared Dawson. Man, let me tell you something. I felt like I hit a tree. I felt like I hit a tree when I hit him with that sidekick. He didn't move at all. And then it felt like a limb from the tree fell down on my headgear when he dropped that back fist on my headgear. So what he did, he stopped my sidekick, jammed my sidekick, then hit me with that hammer, man. Let me tell you, I said, man, I walked away. I said, man, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that sidekick anymore on that guy that big, man.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a great story.
Oh
man.
I'm crying.
Yes. All right. So, Alex, let's go ahead. Let's just tell your top 5 for best side kickers for fighting. And
okay. My
cat may either, I want to hear the cat may agree, disagree. Maybe he has some that he wants to list. All right. Okay. Alex, you go.
So this is my top 5. I got, this one was hard because it's not, I got an honorable mention. Okay. It's not one anyone would ever think of to be like in a top kickers, but I got Joey Greenhaw.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Bro, let me ask, how old are you?
43.
Now, when the hell did you see Joey had to fight like in the 40s and the 30s?
No. Joey.
Joey, not Joe.
Okay,
His
all right, I
son.
thought you were talking about the other one. I was like, how in
No.
the hell you see his sidekick?
That was
Yeah,
the
okay,
best
go
ever.
ahead. Go ahead. All right.
Oh,
Yes.
we got you. Mr.
Oh.
Steve. Oh my God.
No, Joey Greenhaw's sidekick was so good.
Yeah.
He
And
just
it's such a hit with.
you couldn't really be great kicking against him because his sidekick was so good and fast that he would just like sidekick through your kicks too. So I've taken that one. Now,
Can I ask you a question on that one?
yeah,
How can you sidekick through somebody's sidekick?
he did it to me.
What's
He
the
blo-
target then for that sidekick?
No, he's aiming here, but my chamber came up and he just boom, just sidekicked
But
right through me.
he would have got a penalty point if that was back in the day because he's kicking the leg.
But my chamber was up.
Legs
My
above
chamber's
the-
up high, and then he's sidekicking through my leg.
Wow.
While my leg, yeah.
Wow.
And I had a bloodied up leg to prove
See?
it. And I'm like,
See, I
this
told you.
sucks. Right. So that's my honorable mention. Now, here's what's nuts. For sidekicks, the greatest tournament kicker of all time I have at 5. How crazy is that? I got Jason Borelli at number 5. All right.
His favorite, man. I mean, Jason's amazing. Yeah.
Jason, yeah, he got all kinds of great kicks though.
Yeah, exactly. He's got all kinds. Yeah. His sidekick, number
Yeah.
5. That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
At number 4, probably another one maybe people wouldn't think I'd have here. I have Donald Brady. Number 4, Donald Brady.
He fought with me on the Paul Mitchell team, I think. One of the team, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's a twin. You know that, right?
Yep.
So
Ron, you probably fought with Ronald.
Yeah. No, both of them. How can you add one and not add the other one?
Because Donald was better.
Okay. I'm just asking.
But
was a great guest too.
at number 3, I got one who was better than both, and that's Pedro. Pedro's best kick was his axe kick that
Yeah.
people saw,
Right.
but the side kick is what set everything up. Pedro had a way to do his side kick, his defensive side kick offensively. Like he would move forward and make it look like a defensive side kick. It was this nutty thing.
People would blitz at him and he would move forward.
Yeah. and
Now,
do it.
now, Pedro was a teammate of my Pedro and Brian Ruth was on team together.
Yep.
The only thing I would say about Pedro and his side kick, he had to slide up to do his side kick, which sometimes put him in range of a big guy. You know what I'm saying? Put him in range. Now,
that's true.
If you stood there and you moved away from his side kick, he was gonna step and hit you with that axe kick. But his side kick was useful to guys his size. But if you're going to be good at a side kick, you got to be able to stop the big trees. You got to be able to stop big guys too.
Well, speaking of big trees, I love that Zach chimed in with Cass Sigmund. He's not on the list, but I tell you what, it's one of the worst sidekicks I've ever experienced in my life is when Cass Sigmund sidekicked me in the ribs. I swore they were broken when he did it. So, but he's not on the list. Number 2 is Ross Levine.
Oh, Ross. He's on my list. I don't even have a list, but I'm going to put him on my list. So Ross, mark him 1 on my list. I got him on my list.
Ross Levine, number 2. Number one is like he's one of the undergrounds where it's like, okay, not a lot of people are really gonna know who this guy is. But it's a guy named Scott Masterton. All right. Scott Masterton.
Bro, who the hell is that?
Thank you.
Now if you're gonna be show me some footage of this guy. If you're gonna be making up names, I'm
not making up names.
Who is this guy? He's like your uncle or somebody, your old uncle. You won't put your uncle over, so you're gonna just throw his name in there. Okay, go ahead.
No,
Trevor Nash in there?
No, I don't have Trevor Nash. All right.
All right, go ahead.
No, Scott Masterton. He's my original instructor. All right. Scott Masterton.
All right.
But he is also an undefeated super middleweight kickboxing champion that I personally watched him end kickboxing fights with sidekicks to the nose and
Goodness,
blow
yeah.
people up. Right?
Yeah.
Do you remember, Ernest? Do you remember? We actually talked about this a couple weeks ago, Jeff. Do you remember when they used to have those pads that when you hit it, it was like a power meter and would tell you how hard you hit it?
How much weight?
Yeah, thing first came out, and we were all excited to hit it and see what it would be like. And Scott walks up to it and goes, "Oh, it tells you how hard you hit." Bam! Just standing, don't moving, no turning, just standing, side kicks it and breaks it. And now it don't work no more. All right. And so you're just like,
where can I tell somebody should have been on your list? Because I don't have a list, but his name just popped in. You know who else had a sidekick? You guys might know. What's the guy named Jack
Belton?
Oh, Jack Belton.
Yeah. I've seen him put down a lot of people with his sidekick.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Jack Belton's sidekick was awesome. We're getting a lot of good names on the chat.
Mafia. Mafia is a great.
Yeah, Mafia was okay. I fought Mafia. I beat Mafia a few times. I'm gonna tell you who else. And you guys probably don't know him because he didn't fight a lot. Is Josh
Horowitz.
Yeah. Josh had a good sidekick.
Josh did have good.
We talked about him last week. As he was your competitor of the week.
He was my competitor of the week last week.
His kicks were great.
Now, Carlos, I like what Jamon's saying. Carlos Terney. Carlos is, but it was Carlos's sidekick. Was that his best kick?
One of them. I mean, he was an amazing kicker overall. Here's someone to me that I'm going to put Nikki Carlson.
Oh yeah, Nikki was a great sidekick.
Her sidekick is freaking amazing. So
her sidekick go almost like a jab, though, right?
Right.
Yes, that's exactly how she threw it.
True.
Like a power jab.
Right. Oh yeah. She was dropping people with that to the ribs and just covering. That was when, like, the distance she could cover with that was insane. Right. We don't see that anymore. She
did it a lot like what I was talking about, what Joey would do, but she would shoot it like straight, like right to the face, and like whatever was in the way just was collateral damage.
Right.
Whether it was chambers, it was hands, it was your face, whatever. If it fits in the way, it's over now.
Man, you know, I laugh at these sidekick thing. What you guys are talking about is great. But when I see people throwing sidekicks now in pro wrestling, they're the worst thing ever. Shawn Michaels, sweet chin. Man, I say you would run straight through that damn thing. People think it's dangerous for real. Glacier bend down and throw a kick up. The kicks are pretty high, but these guys don't know how to have power behind that kick. But they look good for what they do because we make it better, you know?
So wait, so
that's a good one, David. Russ had a great sidekick as well.
He did. Wait, so Kat, so are people who's teaching the wrestlers the kicks?
Other wrestlers. That's what I'm saying. Other wrestlers. But now, if you watch it now, they got a couple of people in there who have been in some karate classes.
Well, one of my students was in the WWE. Now he's in the AEW.
Yeah.
Arya Daivari.
I talked to him. I talked with you about him when I was on your show, and I talked about him. And it's one of his black belts. Alex got him to his black belt. And
listen, if you guys know anybody that you guys want to get into the business, just send them to talk to me, because I got an open pipeline right now that can get some of these guys in there, and it's changing right now. You know, those old sweet chin kicks that Shawn Michaels used to do. You got guys coming in now that know how to actually throw a good side kick.
Right. Now, I don't know if we had this conversation or not. What do you think of RVD's kicks? He came from a kickboxing, a K1 thing.
I don't know how much kickboxing he took, and I see him all the damn time. He was just like a dancer. He was like, listen, he was just like Van Damme.
He was.
Van Damme was not a karate guy. A lot of people say that. I was in LA, Billy Blanks and Michael White say he's not a karate guy, but he's real flexible.
Yeah.
And Van Damme is the same thing.
He's flexible, but also strong. He had like the record for like the most weight that you, or like the most deadlifts or most weight you could hold while in a split or something like that. Like it's the weirdest
But
record.
he's a full split guy. But
Yeah.
karate, there's nobody in pro wrestling that could stand in the ring with a real karate guy. You know,
Oh, yeah.
that's how I think. Somebody who, when I said karate guy, somebody who know how to fight in the
Right.
ring and not just tournament fighting, but a real martial artist, man. It just be hard for those guys. Cause
Now,
some of the
Can you
stuff
explain to people how to throw your kick and not hurt someone like in
see
the way?
that's what I was about to say. See, with me, they only had the side kick, maybe a round kick, but sometimes they'll be at a different angle. I can look at their face and their head, and sometimes I need to kick them in the back of the head so I can throw a hook kick and before they can react to it. But once they feel it, they can react to a hook kick in the clothesline to get back on core. So that's how a karate guy had to work with these guys. You got to be able, you got to keep them safe. You know,
Okay.
I told Danny, I told one of the guys, who was that? I can't think of his name now. Might have been Buff Bagwell. I said, Buff, look at here. I'm gonna do a jump spin around kick, and we went over it. I said, I'm gonna jump and I'm gonna spin and I'm gonna hit you with a spin around kick. And he said, I said, you just stand straight up, let me kick your chest. So he said, okay. So he kept saying, I'm gonna make the kick look good. I said, you don't have to make the kick look good. Just protect yourself. Give me that. So what happened during the time we got ready to do the kick, I jumped. And when I jumped and spin and I started looking at him, what he did, he went forward to try to follow the kick back to do the whole no hand, the flip backwards stuff. But what happened, the kick caught him on the inside and broke his nose. And then when he came out, I said, why you do that? He said, man, I didn't know the kick was going to come that fast. That's why I told. But see, they don't understand that. But now these guys today in wrestling, man, you know, and I keep bringing up wrestling because I relate both of these things. What you guys talking about karate, I see some of the same stuff in the wrestling ring.
Yes, sir. You're right. And so I did some live shows where we were doing, there was like the Ninja Turtle tour that was going on for a while. And I did some of that. And some of these guys that would come in, they'd be like, okay, we wouldn't really practice too much, but hey, I'm going to give you some kicks and I'm going to touch you with them, but I'm not going to hurt you with them. But just wait. Don't try to do this. No, you know, and it's the same thing. It's like, if I put it in the right spot, don't worry. I'm not going to hurt you. Just, and a lot of times that looks better than trying to do it in a live situation. It's different with the stunts where you can, you know, because of the camera and everything, right? But when you're doing a live situation, it looks phony when you throw a kick and someone moves, you know, and they're like 5 feet away, right? You got to make it close. You got to
make it close. You got to put in an area where the guy can do something with to react to it. That's why I'm saying when stunt guy think that because you can flip and do that, you can come in the ring and be a pro wrestler. You can't. You got to be able to work like it's better to be able to fight than be a stunt person. Right. Why? Because you got to imagine yourself, somebody got you in a chokehold. And now we already know in pro wrestling, you get out of chokehold by going to the arm bar. Mm-hmm. So how you going to do that? If you don't know how to fight, you're going to just lay there to the guy, say, okay, give you the ziggy. And the iggy and the ziggy is where they squeeze your hand like this. And they telling you, okay, turn into the next move. So that's how we get to go to the next move. But if you can't fight, you just stuck there, man. And people like Benoit, he'll take you from one hole, and Dean Malenko, man of 1,000. Listen, he can go from one lock to the next one real fast. He can go from 1, 2, 3. He can take a kick and put the. I mean, he just those guys are real knowledgeable about wrestling, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Ross, you're right. Jason Grenier was a nasty sidekick.
I've been hit by it.
Yeah,
I didn't.
All right, so let's talk. We've talked about from martial arts to wrestling, but talk about some of the things you've done. And honestly, like, dude, you were in a movie that was, you know, an Academy Award winning, you know, movie. You were in The Wrestler. Talk about how that happened and some other things, like you just said. You were in you're in a Michael J. White movie, Jai White movie coming up. So how this happen?
You know me. I left wrestling for a little while. Once they made the once they decided that they were going to sell WCW and WWF came in to purchase WCW, they gave us, listen, they said, we're going to pay you because I was in a new contract. I'm going to pay you for the next 4 years, no matter what. So I was able to sit home, be a dad, take care of my kids and stuff like that. And then, you know, I decided like I was turned off by wrestling because I saw some of the stuff that you guys probably hear about, you know, about Vince McMahon and about his guys trying to do this power struggle. They want to make you kiss ass. Just listen, I said, bro, if y'all don't want me here, I don't have to be here. You know, I've already made my money.
How long were you in the WWE? What, 2 years, 3 years?
No, I was there about 4 years. 4 years. Yeah, I was there 4 years. And the only reason I went back because they called me and told me Vince McMahon really liked your character. And Vince McMahon treated me great, man. I mean, when I was there, I was like, I mean, he worked with me in the ring. You know, he came down to the ring and worked with me in the ring. And he don't work with everybody, but I got to spend a little time there. I got to learn the business. And the business was just not for me. If you know, I'm not going to go to the ring and fight in the Battle of Atlanta if I don't think I can, if I don't think I could win. You know, I put hard work in. The only thing I want to do is just be given the same opportunity that everybody else was given. But in WWF, when I got there, they wasn't giving the WCW guys that kind of thing. If you remember, Buff Bagwell, DDP, everybody was squashed. So
the only one that had a good one was Booker T. That was it.
Exactly. But remember, Booker T left WCW before they purchased him and Eddie Guerrero and
Guerrero, Saturn, Malenko, and Benoit all left earlier.
So once I started feeling like that, I said, man, let me go do something else. Let me reinvent myself. So I went to Hollywood. Man. I met people. I stayed there. I talked to a few people. And then when I thought I had planted enough seeds, I came back home. Then I get this call, and my agent said, hey, they want you to come to New York. I said, for what? Said they got a new movie that they're doing. And I was like, okay, what's the movie about? He says about wrestling. I said, I don't want to be in a wrestling movie. I don't want to be in a wrestling movie. He said, yeah, but the director is a guy named Darren Aronofsky. He's a big underground director. And I said, man, I don't want to be in another wrestling movie. But my wife, who was my girlfriend then, she talked to me and she said, just go out there and see what it's about. So when I got out there, they flew me. I told her I'll come in and I'll read for her. So I came in, I read for Darren, and Nicolas Cage was there. Nicolas Cage was playing the part that eventually ended up with Randy Durant, ended up with
what's his name right now? I don't know why I'm having a hard time.
Hey, you guys supposed to have the young memory. I got no
I know.
Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah. So we went in the ring and we worked with Nicolas Cage, and he was so soft, man. He was like, he didn't like to work. So he quit. And Darren said, okay, get rid of him. He said he don't want to be in a movie where he got to work that hard. So they said, I went out there, I read for my part. Next thing you know, they called me and said, hey, can you stay an extra day? I said, yeah. He said, we got somebody else we want you to read with. So next thing you know, I get there and walk Mickey Rourke, and I went over the part, and Mickey said, hey, you're a natural. He said, you're a natural, man. He said, this going to be good. This going to win an Academy Award. Then I looked at the little stuff around and said, man, this damn movie is not going to win anything. This cheap movie. It went from like a $60 million movie to like a $5 million movie, because if people understand the business, then Mickey Rourke wasn't received well in Hollywood because of the stuff he had did before. He'd have left movies, said he'd have beat up directors. They just didn't think he was worth anything, so the insurance wouldn't cover anything but $5 million. But anyway, man, we finished the movie. The movie went on to do so well that I had a friend of mine call from LA and say, hey, Ernest, what was the name of that movie you was in? And this when the movie was out. I said, The Wrestler. And she said, man, that movie is tearing up the circuit everywhere they go. Every theater they selling out. They winning all the shows and stuff, you know, and the preview is really good. So I was like, bro, you know, let me see what's going on with this thing. So, you know, by the time the movie ended up, man, the movie did really well, and it's considered one of the top movies out there in LA. And now, when I go to LA, my manager want me to see somebody, all he had to do is tell him, say he was in the movie The Wrestler. That's how much that movie is accepted and respected.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And you didn't really have any idea that it was going to be like that before you got on that plane.
Bro, you ever heard it saying when they said, if you're supposed to have it, God gonna put it in your life?
Yeah,
that is true. That's true because I went to LA looking for movies, and stuff like that. Then I got tired and I came home. And then 3 weeks later, I get a call from somebody in New York. So how the hell did they get my number in New York, first of all? How did they know about me in New York? And the movie turned out to be one of the best movies. You know, 90% of the actors and actresses that go into acting, the number one thing that they want to do is not make a lot of money. Of course, they want to do that too, but they want to be in a movie that they say either won or were nominated for Oscar.
Right.
Now, here I am sitting in Atlanta. Didn't even know how I get put in the running for this movie, but I got the part. So, you know, and you know, the part did pretty well, man. Did a great part. Then I did a movie with Michael White that I thought should have been probably one of them, but Mike Movie is not going to do it. It was a movie called Blood and Bones.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, listen, in LA,
us as martial artists know that movie well.
Oh, yeah. But in LA, they call that movie right there like Into the Dragon for Michael White. It won his best movie.
One of his best movies.
Yeah.
One of his best movies, but he didn't get nominated for anything. But the movie, you know, it's so funny. When I made The Wrestler, I was coming back from somewhere, I think Chicago, and this guy stopped me on the train. And they was just saying, hey, man, when you just, man, you was in my favorite movie, man, Cat. You was in my favorite movie. And I started saying, yeah, The Wrestler. He said, no, not The Wrestler, Blood and Bones.
Blood and Bone, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great movie, man. Good fight scenes, you know, good fight scenes.
That's awesome. That's so cool. All right, so before we finish up, and I do want you to share about what you got behind you, the Cat's Corner, your podcast. Talk a little bit about that, and then I want you to share some of your greatest rivals in. I mean, it could be sport karate. It could also, if you want to say one or two from pro wrestling. So,
man, listen, people can go and listen to the Cat's Corner on YouTube, and all we do, we talk about what's going on behind the curtains of pro wrestling. You know, and we kind of relate what we do as wrestlers into what's going on in the world. We don't just talk about, oh, what happened on Monday night, what happened on Tuesday night. We talk about, hey, how this guy's doing. He lost a family member. You know, I know how that feels. So we telling the stories behind these giants, you know, superstars in wrestling. And you can go to the Cat's Corner, and ain't no telling who you may see on there. You may see Jeff on there. You know, you may see Hogan on there. You may see Goldberg, Bret Hart. I can get anybody I want, but what I try to do, I want to get people with stories. I want people to walk away and say, you know what, that story helped me through something. You know, just hearing that my hero went through that before. You know, because it's a lot of good stories on the Cat's Corner podcast.
yes, sir. It's a good time. So go check it out. All right, so let's finish up with some rivalries. Who are some rivals that you had?
I didn't have any, man, because I can't talk about it now because all the guys I hated are now my best friends. I used to hate Terry Kramer. I used to hate Richard Prowden. I used to hate Anthony Price. I used to hate all those guys, Mafia Holloway. But that's what I thought I had to do to fight them, like I had to fight them to win. But those was good, man. I mean, we went at it every time we won. Jerry Roberts.
Oh, yeah, you guys had some great ones. That was always.
Oh, we used to go at it, man. He used to look at me and growl. I look at him and growl. Now we like best of friends. You know, we like best of friends. You know, and you know, so in pro wrestling, man, you know, everybody fun to work with. You know how to work with Ric Flair. I worked with Dusty Rhodes. I worked with Hogan. I worked with The Rock. I worked with everybody in the business. You know, if you go back, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, because they don't advertise it because they got so many other stars to advertise. But at that time, I was working with some of the biggest names in the business, you know, and having a good time.
They just put out a video. I believe it's let me see. My friend just sent it to me. I guess it's on from the WWE Vault, and they had you just did an interview about when you had your WCW debut.
Oh yeah,
and it's a great video.
I didn't know that was out. Have you watched it yet?
Yeah, I watched it. It was awesome. It was awesome.
See, that's what they did. They brought me down when they were here to do that video.
Yeah.
So
what's funny is that so my friend sent me that. He was one of my former students, and and then I texted him about you being on the show, and I was watching Raw right before, and I look up, he's at Raw right now. It was just the funniest thing. And then he said, what's funny is he's front row at Raw, and he said he's jealous because I'm getting to interview you, and he's right there in front row.
Wild.
But you know what's so funny? The karate world don't know that. The karate world don't know what Uncle E is all about. I got another life. That's great, man. When you got a life where you can go and be somebody else totally different, but then you can come here and be that Uncle E and have fun. And you know, Trey Leatherby, one of my good friends. He grew up with Marcel's son. Him and I've been banging at it ever since he was young because he was big. Yeah. We still go at it on Monday night. So when I look into his little beady eyes, they still look like he's 7 years old, but he's about 6'3", 290 pounds. He say he lost weight. He ain't lost no weight. He look back, it's on his ass. That's what the weight is at. He ain't lost no weight. The guy's still big, man. And he's fast. But you know, watching these guys too, man, I like to say this, watching these guys, these young guys that I've worked with and have fun with so many years, watching them become teachers.
Oh, I know, right?
That's the best part to me. I don't care how many tournaments they win, but when I watch them looking at other kids and trying to put themselves into other kid places and bringing the kids up the right way, that is the best part of working with and watching these kids grow.
I love that. That's what a perfect way to end that, man. I love that. I love that, Ernest.
But remember, Jeff, anybody you guys need, man,
yes, sir.
Somebody, you know, that's what I want to do. That's really what I want to do. I want to have an avenue that karate people can go through now. You don't have to try to get into acting and do. You can go into pro wrestling, man. I'm telling you, that's a great move, because from there you can go into acting.
It's physical acting.
Yeah, but then it's a live show. So when you go on the movie set and do a movie, it's so much easier because now you can mess up and redo and mess up. You're so comfortable. So it's a good leeway into that kind of world.
That's why people like John Cena, Dave Bautista, The Rock are so big and wanted, is because they don't have to do 1,000 takes. They're used to doing it right.
If you met those guys in person, they the most boring guys you ever met. Ain't nothing entertaining about those guys sitting in front of you. Nothing, because they TV ready.
They TV ready.
Okay, so wait. So you say that. So like all like the super entertaining on TV guys, they're boring. Who's a guy who's wildly entertaining that maybe we wouldn't know?
Stone Cold, Ric Flair, old school guys. They have, because they don't hesitate. They just say what, and it's funny, it's entertaining. You know, it's like Stone Cold. Stone Cold is Stone Cold. You know what I'm saying?
And that's his real personality too.
That's his real personality. That's awesome. Like the Undertaker. Let me tell you, the Undertaker was so cool and laid back. You see him, he was like, I saw him for the first time walking through the airport. I was in WCW. I'd never been to him before, but I saw him walking. He looked like he was he had his costume on, you know, like he had his gear on at the airport.
Yeah. Yeah,
They said that's him, but he walked right up to me, looked me in my eyes. He said, "Hey, Cat, nice to meet you. You're doing a great job. Keep it up." And then walked off. And I looked at him like, fucking dead man for real. You're a dead man for real talking like that. Who, that kind of made me like, eesh.
Oh,
It's the best. Oh man. Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. Well, I tell you what, we got to have you back on, and
oh yeah.
you know, this is just too much fun. But and again, like you said, thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor to have you, and you are it's crazy to say you are a fan of us, but we are a huge fan of you. And thank you for inspiring everyone in our sport and in our craft. And
keep up the good work, man. You guys are doing great, man. I mean, one at a time. Don't worry about what you don't have.
Right.
Think about where you're going and the possibilities. So
Yes,
you
sir.
got touching a lot of people, man. I mean, listen, people start podcasts, then next week when you gonna do another episode? I don't know. But to see you guys still here doing it, man, you can't go nowhere but grow and go up, man. I'm a fan of it. And anything I can do for you guys, just let me know.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
thank you very much, because we'd love to have you back again. But think about that though. I want to lean into that. What you just said, Kat. To think about, like, this is 5 going on 6 years we've been doing this straight. Honestly, I'm going to say, Jeff, we're really lucky to have Shelly and Lindsay to be able to do this, because
I know. Yeah.
that is what allows us to be able to do this. If we didn't have the women in our lives to be able to allow us to be able to do this and facilitate that, like, no chance I could pull that off.
Bro, and this is a business. People don't understand the work that it go into preparing stuff and to do this. It's a business, man. It's a full-time business. And for you guys, man, to be doing it the way you guys are doing it, man, 5 years, 6 years.
Yes,
Bro,
sir.
listen, it don't take but one video to get out there.
That's right.
Everybody be coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, sir. Alex, let's take us away, man.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Thank you, the cat.
All right, brother. Take it easy.